Welcome to This Explainer. We're going to dive right in and totally rethink something we've taken for granted for a long time. For centuries, society has basically measured intelligence by looking at how much knowledge someone has crammed into their head, right? I mean, schools reward you for memorizing facts, universities test how much information you can retain, and we just kind of assume that intelligence is all about qualifications and being able to recall massive amounts of data on demand. But what if that whole view is just fundamentally flawed? Because honestly, we have a glaring problem with this traditional definition of intelligence. Let's look at a modern computer. A standard computer can store more facts than an entire generation of humans combined. Even just a simple neighborhood library contains way more information than any of us could possibly learn in a single lifetime. But here's the catch. Neither the computer nor the library is actually intelligent. They aren't thinking. Yet we constantly judge the human brain as if it's just a flesh and blood hard drive, literally measuring its worth by pure information storage. So, this reveals a pretty massive central mystery. If intelligence is not simply the accumulation of knowledge, then what exactly is it? Seriously, think about it for a second. What if we've been looking at intelligence completely backwards this entire time? What if knowledge is not the foundation of intelligence at all, but rather just a tool used by something far, far more fundamental? Well, nature might have already provided the answer for us.
All right, let's jump into part one, survival of the predictor, evolution's true reward. See, out in the wild, nature absolutely does not care if you are a walk-in encyclopedia. Nature only cares about one thing. Do you survive to see tomorrow? A rabbit doesn't survive because it understands the complex academic biology of the fox chasing it. No, it survives because it predicts danger before the danger actually arrives. A bird doesn't safely navigate the skies because it holds a master's degree in aerodynamics. It survives because it successfully predicts where it can safely land. And a hunter succeeds not by reciting trivia about their prey, but by predicting exactly where that prey is going to be. Throughout evolutionary history, survival always went to those who could take whatever little information they had and use it to make accurate predictions about the future.
So, here is the core pivot. Knowledge tells us what happened, but intelligence attempts to determine what happens next. Now, that distinction might seem a bit subtle at first, but I promise you, it changes everything. Think about it. An animal that perfectly remembers yesterday but is completely incapable of anticipating tomorrow is really unlikely to survive for very long. The future is what actually matters. When you view it through this lens, intelligence looks a whole lot less like a storage problem and entirely like a prediction problem.
Let's put this into perspective with some everyday examples. When you look up and see dark clouds gathering, your knowledge gives you the raw data. Hey, it has rained under similar conditions before. But your intelligence steps in and asks the crucial question, is it going to rain right now? When a business owner looks at past sales, knowledge just tells them what customers bought last month. Intelligence takes that raw data and asks, okay, so what will they buy next month? Or when you're driving and you see a warning sign for an accident black spot, knowledge highlights the history. Intelligence asks, what is likely to happen in the next few seconds? Knowledge is valuable strictly because it improves our predictions. Without that predictive engine running the show, knowledge basically has no practical value. Which brings us to part two, racing against the clock, the trade-off of time and uncertainty.
We often imagine decision-making as this epic, movie-style battle between cold logic and heated emotion. But actually, something else entirely is happening under the hood. You know that agonizing feeling when you're trying to make a really tough choice, like quitting your job or moving to a new city? Those decisions almost always produce massive internal conflict. And why is that? Because your internal prediction systems just can't confidently agree on an outcome. The risks are high, the rewards are high, and the information you have is incomplete. The feeling we casually describe as thinking is often just the process of reducing uncertainty. When your confidence is low, you start running all these simulations inside your mind, imagining possible futures. True intelligence isn't the ability to magically eliminate uncertainty entirely. It's the ability to function effectively despite it.
Picture this. You're walking through the wilderness and you hear a sudden rustling in the bushes. Now, you could spend 5 minutes gathering data, analyzing the sound waves, checking wind direction, and increasing your certainty to 100%. The problem? In those 5 minutes, you literally become lunch. Nature's timer is totally unforgiving. You have to make a sufficiently accurate prediction within seconds. A perfectly accurate answer delivered too late is completely worthless for survival.
There's a brilliant quote that sums this up. Intelligence is not simply about accuracy. It is about accuracy within available time constraints. This completely reframes how we should view human intuition. When time is abundant, sure, we take a step back and analyze. But when time is scarce, we rely heavily on experience, intuition, and educated guesses. Making fast decisions under extreme uncertainty isn't a flaw in our intelligence. Actually, it's the exact opposite. It is the precise environment our intelligence evolved to operate within.
Moving right along to part 3, how prediction shapes us specialized systems. One of the most absolutely fascinating things about humans is that no two minds develop exactly the same way. We all start out with the same basic survival goals, but our prediction systems branch out based on our thousands of unique individual experiences. The brain essentially learns which forms of prediction are most reliable for its specific day-to-day environment. The entrepreneur trains their brain day in and day out to predict market behavior. The builder specializes their mind to predict structural outcomes. The teacher expertly predicts how students are going to respond to a lesson. The musician predicts complex, beautiful patterns within sound. These aren't just differing skill sets on a resume. They are highly specialized prediction systems shaped over years of trial, error, and successful outcomes. And unlike modern engineering, which is always striving for perfect uniformity and everything being exactly the same, nature enthusiastically embraces variation. No two brains are identical, and no two people perceive the world in exactly the same way. And these cognitive imperfections, they're exactly why innovation even exists. Variation creates diversity of thought. Diversity of thought creates alternative predictions, and those alternative predictions, they create discovery. What might look like an inefficiency in one single individual is actually a massive evolutionary advantage for our entire species. And finally, we arrive at part 4, knowledge as compressed history. If you take away anything from this explainer, let it be this. Knowledge is essentially compressed history, acting as a tool or evidence used by a prediction machine to navigate an uncertain world. Think about the super simple phrase, fire burns. When you learn that as a kid, you aren't just memorizing some random fact for a test. You are inheriting a summarized collection of enormous, countless previous experiences and observations from your ancestors. It's like a zip file of human survival. The purpose of knowing fire burns isn't to preserve the historical record of fire. Its sole practical purpose is to improve your future decisions so you don't get burned right now. Knowledge is just the raw evidence our inner prediction machine relies on to keep us moving forward. For generations, we've viewed intelligence primarily through the lens of knowledge. We naturally assumed that the more data we store, the smarter we are. But evolution didn't reward storage just for the sake of storage. True intelligence is measured by how effectively we navigate incomplete information and extremely limited time, right when the outcome actually matters for our survival and success. Everything else, our memory, our education, our expertise, and our wisdom, exists purely to serve that one vital process. The human brain is not merely a repository of knowledge. It is, without a doubt, nature's greatest prediction machine. So let's bring this all back to you. Take a look at your own life, your own experiences, and your own unique skills. If your brain is essentially a prediction machine, what future is it currently specialized to predict? Think about how your mind has been trained over the years, what uncertainties you navigate on a daily basis, and how your prediction engine is shaping your reality right now. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this completely changes how you view your own brilliant predictive mind.